Hi, welcome back. I'm Ryan Neal from the Vulgar Skill. Today we're beginning Godinho's techniques against treachery, which usually involve committing lots of treachery before the other guy can commit treachery, because fair fights are for suckers. So, the context he really gives us at the beginning here is that if you are weak or fearful and feel like somebody has the advantage of you or somebody's going to favor him, i.e., break these out if you think you're going to lose, or if the numbers are against you. Because again, you don't want a fair fight. You want a fight where you live and a fight where you win. So we're going to open with our first action here. Here we have Eric Woves, an instructor at Swordman Historical Swordsmanship. So our context here, and like all of these things, is that we're here and we're coming to the end of words and we're having an argument. So our swords are at the ready. Usually we have a hand on our sword and like things are pretty tense. We either have the hand ready to draw, or at least, a hand kind of holding it steady so that we can get ready to draw. And here, there's lots of options available to us, and Godinho sort of wants us to always initiate and open. So in this case, Eric, can you put on mask, please, for this one? He says that we apologize, and we say nothing that we said was true, which is ordinarily good advice, and maybe you could just end the fight there. But in this case, let's say we want to kill this guy. So he says, like, you apologize, and you say that you say everything you said was wrong. Like, I'm sorry I didn't mean to say that about your mother, and the fact that you're Protestant. I'm so sorry, ma'am. Like, all these other medieval things or Renaissance things I may have used to insult him. And, like, I swear on the cross of this sword, and, like, I basically pretend to make an oath on the cross of my sword. And I say, I'm so sorry. When I make the kiss the cross, I grab the sword, and then I draw it and hit him with the pommel. Now, a few notes here that aren't in Godinho, but I find really help this action. First, as you're bringing the sword up, the sword kind of goes either horizontal or vertical, however your preferred draw is. In order to help your draw, if you pull this back, whether you have a scabbard or just the ring setup like I have here, while you're turning the hips, it not only makes you draw faster, but because you're engaging the hips, you can really power this into somebody's skull. I'm not going to do that here because fencing masks are not designed to be clubbed to death, but essentially you're going to draw, bang, and then as you come back, just do Godinho's ordinary draw and nails down, and now we're fighting. And you can proceed to stab him, cut him to death, do whatever you want to do.
Why don't we do that from the other side so they can see that?
We're going to swap, as Eric Wise suggests, so you can really see. I swear on the cross of the sword, man, I'm sorry. As I make the kiss of the cross, I pull this kind of back to my hip, whether it's a scabbard or this. Work with your individual setup, and then engage the hips. You can usually cut them if you have a shorter sword like I do. The reason I have a shorter sword is to enable this draw, and because it lets me cut them in the face. The other option he gives for here, if you don't want to do the draw as part of it, I prefer the draw. I think it's a little safer, but he says you could also make the cross with your fingers. And he says use the two fingers nearest the thumb, and you say, I swear on the cross of my fingers I have no quarrel with you, like I promised. And then as you kiss, you take the two fingers closest to the thumb. And there's two ways to interpret this. The two fingers closest to the thumb, or the two fingers closest to the thumb. Either way, you're going to take these fingers and you're going to put them in his eyes. And then, after you put them in his eyes, draw your sword, and then make your fight however you prefer. So whatever your interpretation is there, the general rule is you basically fake the apology, the reconciliation, and then you either maul this guy with the pommel of your sword and draw your sword, or you jab your fingers in his eyes. Obviously don't practice against a partner who has unprotected eyes. Either use ballistic rated safety goggles that reality-based self-defense or Krav Maga people use for that, or a regular fencing mask, and just practice like touching them in the eyes. Don't jab your fingers hard into a fencing mask because steel is stronger than your hands are. I hopefully don't have to tell you that. I also recommend you keep your fingers bent. That way, if you mess up and you just plow it into the top of his forehead, you don't break your fingers. And if you mess it up, be a true Godinho practitioner and just adapt. It's like, oh, I just hit him in the head. Okay. And then now we're having a sword fight. So that's it for the first two chapters of his Against Treachery. Go ahead and practice those kind of drills, and I'll see you next video. Thank you.